Yes, yes, the Casanovians. Yes, yes, the Casanovians. Hope everybody's good. I'm riding on godly frequency. Today is day 2 of a 3-day in-person coaching experience with one of our guys inside of the Entourage. And what I wanted to do before I head out for another spectacular day of in-person coaching is give you some simple things that anybody can do to quickly improve your conversations with women, right? Because once you've got over that fear to approach, a big problem that guys encounter is, what do I say in the conversations? What are some useful mindsets to adopt? Maybe you're worried of running out of things to say, or the conversation getting awkward, or looking stupid whilst you're in the conversation. I'm going to go over some other things from yesterday as well, because I think not everybody saw the stream that I did yesterday. And yeah, just want to provide you with immense amounts of fucking value so you can go out into the world and conquer like a conquer. So yeah, announcement before we begin. There's now only 48 hours remaining to join the Entourage. So if you know what the Entourage is my private network, okay? So all the guys who've been personally trained by me, they have assembled into the Entourage. So if you're somebody right now, maybe you can approach, maybe you can get dates, maybe you can get the results from cold approach, but maybe you're lacking accountability. Maybe you're lacking like-minded guys who you can travel with, who you can approach with, guys who can hold you accountable, guys who can give you feedback. Maybe you're at a place in your life right now where you're not getting the results that you want from cold approach. You realize that your biggest problem is not motivation, it's most likely isolation, right? Daytime cold approach is not a solo sport, it's a team sport, and it's also an extreme sport. So one of our Entourage members, Joseph, once said that. I think it's a perfect phrase. With solo cold approach, you can run out of steam fast, yeah? If you're hitting the streets on your own, maybe you're doing a handful of approaches. The thing that I learned yesterday, and I think we do need to be reminded more than we need to be taught, is the importance of volume when it comes to daytime cold approach. Yeah, the mistake that I see so many guys making is they'll go out and they'll do maybe 2 or 3 approaches. And if those first few approaches don't go their way, then they'll get sad, they'll get deflated, they will go home, it's like the rest of their day will be ruined because they didn't get the immediate desirable reactions from these conversations. And I think this is one thing you take away from this stream. You have to stay out until you find your flow, right? Yesterday, for example, the client who I'm working with, he is a 40-year-old business owner. On paper, you would think there is no way that this guy would ever need coaching, right? He looks amazing, he's got money, he's got a great lifestyle, he's in great shape, he dresses well. If you saw this guy walking past you on the street, you think there is no way this guy struggles with women, with approaching. But dude, I've worked with so many guys now, over 200 of them. I've worked with guys who were screenwriters in Hollywood. I've worked with guys who were actors in Hollywood. I've worked with guys who worked in nightlife as club promoters for a decade. Guys who, on paper, you would assume would be crushing it. But the thing that pretty much every one of them lacked was condensed volume in a condensed period of time. Because yesterday we did 30 approaches in 3 hours, right? 30 approaches in 3 hours, he got 11 contact details. And I learned later on yesterday that once we parted ways, he actually started approaching women all on his own. He did 10 more approaches without me even being there. So in like one day, less than a day, maybe 4 hours and 20 minutes, he's gone from a guy who was shit scared to approach women, never being able to find the courage to walk over and present himself, feeling as though every day and week and year that went by, he was running out of time, feeling as though his best years were behind him. And then in the space of 4 hours yesterday, he does 40 approaches, gets 11 contact details. 10 of those approaches were completely solo, so I wasn't even there. And I think the biggest differentiating factor with the guys who have conversations with cold approach that get them the results that they want, the guys who become social weapons, the guys who overcome their self-limiting beliefs, is they outwork their self-doubt through huge amounts of volume. Like, when was the last time, honestly, if you're approaching right now, when was the last time you did 30 approaches in 3 hours, right? Because this is the thing, like, this is the reason, if you're not getting the results that you want right now, you're not putting enough reps on the board when you go out. Yeah, because most guys, what they do is they'll go out, they'll do a few, maybe some of the conversations don't go their way, then they bail, then they go home, then they convince themselves this doesn't work. It must be me, it must be my city, it must be my looks, it might be my ethnicity. Like, they will cling on to any limiting excuse apart from the obvious thing, which is you're just not approaching enough, right? And it's not about volume, it's about conscious volume, because you don't want to be consistently good at being shit, right? Because if you're just going out there repeating the same mistakes, it's like going to the gym and practicing bad form. So yesterday, my guy was mic'd up. I gave him immediate feedback after every single approach. One approach with me is worth around 30 approaches on your own. So because I can give you the feedback, because I can tell you what you need to know rather than what you want to hear, we just turn decades into days. This is how guys fast track their progress. But I just think it's interesting because you might think that your problem right now is, oh, I'm talking too fast, or I'm not being polarizing enough, or I'm not talking about interesting topics. But really, the biggest problem in your way is you're just not doing enough volume, right? If you do 30 daytime approaches in 3 hours, which are supervised, and you're giving immediate feedback after each one, it is impossible for you to stay the same, right? So if you want to get inside the entourage, if you want to get around me and the rest of my clients, you don't even need to meet me in person, okay? You can join the entourage, you can connect with all of our guys virtually, you can join our weekly group coaching calls, you can enter our private WhatsApp accountability group, you can have my personal WhatsApp number so we can get on the FaceTime, I can give you advice, I can give you feedback. The first link below this video, you can reserve your place inside the entourage. It's only open for the next 48 hours. After that, doors are closed. I'm not sure when we're going to reopen public access again. But yeah, if you resonate with me, you want to get around me and the rest of my like-minded social savages, first link below this video, you can reserve your spot inside the entourage for the next 48 hours. So what happened yesterday was the guy that I was coaching, the 40-year-old guy who'd been terrified of approaching women his entire life, he gave me some things that he took away from yesterday's session. So what I want to do is I want to share these things with you, which will help you in your cold approach conversations. And some of these you've probably never heard anybody else say before. So let me read out some of them because I think it'd be really useful. One of the realizations that my guy had yesterday is he says, I'm warm from doing many approaches while she's often cold. So I have to give her time to warm up instead of reacting to her being a bit distant in the first seconds. So this is really important. If you're going out to cold approach and you're doing lots and lots of approaches, so my guy yesterday, he did 30 approaches in 3 hours. What we often forget is when we're in this social flow state, oftentimes the women who we're approaching, they've not spoke with anybody that day, right? Their social temperature can be ice cold. And if your social temperature is red hot, you go into that approach, you're riding on godly frequency, you've got momentum behind you. Sometimes she just needs 30 seconds to process what's actually going on, okay? So if you are doing lots and lots of volume and you feel as though women are giving you weird reactions or they don't know how to respond to your approach, and you feel as though you almost have to teach them how to have a cold approach conversation, then one of the biggest problems is you misunderstand how palpable your momentum can be. Because if you've done a shitload of approach, it's kind of like, imagine you went to the pub and you had 5 shots of Sambuca and you just approached a randomer on the street, right? Imagine you were drunk. That's kind of like when you've done lots and lots of approaches, you almost enter this drunken state, but you're completely sober, right? It's like you're in this heightened sense of aliveness where the world just feels amazing. The whole universe is like in technicolor. You feel like a social god. But what we often misunderstand is if you're riding on this social momentum, she is often not that socially hot. So she can just take 30 seconds or so to warm up to the idea of having a conversation. So at the start of the conversation, she's not necessarily rejecting you. She's just rejecting the idea of having a high energy conversation right now. And I've experienced this a lot. When I'm in flow, when I'm just riding on godly frequency, sometimes I can forget that can be quite intense for women. Like no woman leaves her house thinking, I'm going to get cold approach today, right? But when you're approaching, ideally, and this is another thing that I need you to take away from this stream, a lot of guys are not living deliberately. I just had a call with a guy who's interested in joining the entourage, and he was explaining to me something that he was struggling with, which was he would see opportunities when he went out, but he would reject himself on behalf of these opportunities because he'd not set any intention before he left the house. If you're gonna approach, you need to do it deliberately, okay? Get away from this fallacy of thinking, oh, well, when I leave the house, maybe I'll see somebody. Oh yeah, there's somebody. Like, you're not gonna do it because you've not been socially lubricated yet. You've not been mentally lubricated. So before you leave the house on any given day, even if it's just going to the shop, because you've probably had these situations before where you've left the house, you've had no intention of doing any approaches, and the gods just deliver this absolute worldie, right? Strutting past you on the street, and the excuse you tell yourself is, I'm not warmed up yet, I'm not on, yeah, I'm not in flow. But really, preparation is the lubrication. If before you leave the house, you just say to yourself, when I see somebody who I find attractive, I will walk over, I will give them a compliment. That can be the difference between getting a date and pussying out of the approach. So the thing to keep in mind is when you are approaching women and you are in this social state, you're in this flow, oftentimes she's not in that flow. So you almost have to have cognitive empathy, okay? You have to recognize that this is a socially unconventional thing for her right now. She wasn't anticipating being approached. So if you can go into that approach, even though you're riding on godly frequency, let's say you approach, let's say you give her a hard-hitting compliment. This happened yesterday when my guy, he was about 25 or 26 approaches deep, and he saw this girl, walked over to her, and probably one of the best compliments I've heard from a client in a long time. He walks over, gets right in front and says, "You look fucking amazing." And how liberating does it feel to be able to walk over to a woman and just say, "You look fucking amazing." Yeah, because a lot of the times you don't have dating problems. You've got personal problems which become dating problems. Your resistance to walking over to a woman and saying, "You look fucking amazing," it's got nothing to do with your dating life. It's got everything to do with shame, right? Shame is the biggest killer of seduction. You think it's wrong. You think that people are going to see you in a strange way. You think that you're going to not receive love from the feminine, right? But momentum, this is the biggest thing, right? Like once you've got momentum behind you, you start to finally feel like yourself in these conversations. This is what I experienced yesterday with my client, right? In everyday social situations, he's fine. He can be playful. He can be charming. He can be witty. But at the start of the day yesterday, he was finding it difficult to be himself in his conversation because when you're first starting cold approach, you're not yourself. You're your conditioning, right? But most people think when they're cold approaching, that's them. That's me, right? Oh, I'm an introvert. Oh, I suck with women. Oh, I could never do this. That's your conditioning talking. But until you've passed that threshold of doing a shitload of approaches in a condensed period of time, I would say the next time that you go out to approach, do at least 15 daytime approaches, right? Just stay out until you've done those approaches. Because I just see this so often with guys like, oh yeah, I've tried cold approaching. I did one approach, or I did 2 approaches, or I did 5 approaches when I went out. I'm like, dude, that is not enough. It's like going to the gym and going home after the warm-up sets. You can't go home after just doing 5 half-assed approaches. Otherwise, You never find your flow. You never discover your own approach to approaching. So dude, even when I go out, right, I guarantee my first 3 or 4 approaches that I do on any given day, they're usually shit. And they're probably shitter than yours, right? But I'm probably the only person in this space who will admit that. Like most coaches, they want to be seen as these god figures, like, oh, I'm so great, I never get rejected, all my approaches are effortless. No, my first 3 or 4 approaches, they are usually shit. But the difference between me and a beginner is I don't attach any importance to these first approaches. I don't attach my self-worth to how the first 3 or 4 women receive me. I understand these are my warm-up sets. These are just batting practice. But once you've got momentum behind you, because like the thing that I've learned is your internal state beats any conversational technique, right? Like once you're in this flow state and you just feel high on life, you just feel drunk, but you're completely sober. Like you're not thinking too many steps ahead, right? You're not thinking about, oh, I need to push, I need to pull, I need to vibe, I need to stack. Oh, has she hooked yet? You're just fucking in the moment, dude, right? And that might sound abstract. It might be difficult to comprehend right now if you're a logical, analytical guy. But the problem is you're not putting enough conscious volume to get yourself into a flow state where you just don't give a fuck anymore, right? And you become powerful when you stop caring, right? All of these problems that you've got, like, oh, I'm running out of things to say. I don't know how to be charming. I don't know how to be seductive. I don't know how to be witty. Yes, you do, because it's already there, right? You were born confident. Your real natural confidence is there. It's just buried underneath bullshit, fear, sedation, compliance, all wrapped into a mask that you call you, right? We're all born as men with 6-packs. It's just buried under a layer of fat. It's the same with your confidence. It's there, it's just buried underneath bullshit. And you think you need to add more things, more status, more lines, more fake confidence, when really it's not the addition, it's the removal, right? It's removing everything that isn't you. And when you do that, you show up as the man you actually are. And by doing that, you naturally attract your women and you repel the rest. You find your fuck yeses, but you're not gonna get there by thinking your way into it. You're gonna do it by doing lots and lots and lots of conscious volume. Again, 30 approaches yesterday in 3 hours. Then he did more without me being there. But during the coaching session, 30 approaches in 3 hours, 11 contact details, right? And that's his first ever day of cold approaching. Like, you need to allow that to actually sit and penetrate your mind. 3-hour time investment. You could have spent that 3 hours watching fucking Oppenheimer. 3-hour time investment to do 30 approaches supervised and get 11 contact details. And I said to him yesterday, dude, this is the shittest you're ever gonna be, right? Now he's part of the entourage. Now he's got me in his corner. We're doing our second day of coaching today. I'm gonna put him through some solo drills to simulate more of this. Because I think a lot of times guys are like, yeah, but Christian, what about when you're not there anymore? Well, to be fair, he's already proved to himself yesterday he can approach without me being there. But today I'm going to put him through some drills, which are going to be useful for him. But just volume, dude. Like, I think if you just understood this and just ask yourself, when was the last time you did 30 approaches in 3 hours? Because most guys, they're half-arsing it, 1 approach, 2 approaches. And then if they don't get the result they want in those first 2 or 3 approaches, they convince themselves, oh, it's not my day, the girls don't like me, I'm unattractive. If you put 27 or 28 more reps on the board, I guarantee the way you start is not the way you finish. Yeah? When you first get to the gym, or when I first go to the Muay Thai gym in Bangkok, I'm not really feeling it. I'm feeling a bit groggy, I'm feeling a bit lethargic, my head's not really in the game. After those 90 minutes of just immersing myself in the skill, I feel like a weapon. I feel like myself. I feel as though I'm in this flow state. And if you've been in this flow state, you'll know what I talk about. And that is really what I'm going out there for. And this is how I teach it to my clients. When you're going out to cold approach, you're not going out to chase women. You're going out to chase a feeling. You're chasing this feeling of godly frequency, which is feeling abundant. Remember, abundance is not always having, it's knowing you can have. Because if you pin the success of a session on how many numbers that you get, then you'll forever be chasing the dragon. It'll never be enough. But instead, if you go out because you want to enter this state of godly frequency where you can experience success in advance, like imagine being in a state where you feel completely comfortable, you feel completely relaxed, you've got no resistance and no hesitation to approach any woman, anywhere, anytime. That's godly frequency, and you only get there by putting a shitload of reps on the board. So you need to get out of this mindset that doing one approach a day is enough, that doing 3 approaches a day is enough. I would say if you are serious about learning this skill, then dedicate your weekends or whenever you've got time off work. If you're an entrepreneur, then you've got time, you've got a schedule, then just factor it in. But just go hard. Yeah, do at least 15 approaches when you do go out there, and do it twice a week. 15 approaches Saturday, 15 approaches Sunday. This is how you hit the next level, right? You need to stop with the whole, oh, I'll do 1 approach and I'll do 5 approach. No, 15. Just go out and do 15. Do 15 today, do 15 tomorrow, do 15 Sunday. You need to get into this flow of momentum. But yeah, the first realization that he highlighted yesterday was when you are in momentum, recognize she probably isn't. So she might just need a little bit more time to warm up to the idea. And you can just call that out as well in the approach. If you go in super strong and she's a little bit taken aback by it, then you just call it out. You name the elephant in the room, right? You just say, whoa, you look a little bit taken aback by there. You're not expecting a moderately attractive stranger to approach you today. And now she can recognize, okay, this guy's smart, he's got social intelligence, he's not just bulldozing through the conversation and ignoring my reaction. So if you do go in there and she's a little bit taken aback, be led by curiosity. Oh, has this never happened to you before? Oh, I assume, it's fair. You probably didn't leave the house today expecting to be approached by a moderately attractive stranger. It's okay, I'll let you off, we can still be friends. So I would say as well that when you are in this state of godly frequency, it depends, because that state, it can be magnetic. It depends on what state the girl is in, because if she's in a social state herself, dude, that is flirty fucking fireworks. If you meet a girl, maybe she just come out of like a work event and she's feeling really happy, or maybe she got a promotion at work, or maybe she just spent a lot of time around good people. If you catch her on the street and the both of you are in godly frequency, dude, that is when it's just this energetic alignment, and fuck me, those are the best days of your life, when you just find a girl who matches your energy. But again, volume is how you do this. The other thing that he mentioned yesterday, and this is really important. Oh, by the way, if this stream has been valuable so far, then drop it a like. I'm going to say something next which you've probably not heard before, but this is like really deep conversational skills, because I feel as though it would be fair if I provided like a real tangible, practical thing. So the thing that he learned from yesterday's coaching session is he put, in the conversation, I need to listen for the small identity hooks she gives me. For example, I love traveling because people are open-minded, and then go deeper into who she is instead of just asking new surface questions. I could write a book on this. This is like one of those things that nobody talks about, nobody explores. And I don't know about you, but I'm fascinated by human behavior, human psychology, influence, power, persuasion. I find this side of life extremely fascinating. Like, how can we use our words to get what we want, right? I find it fascinating, because this is really all game is, right? It's a transfer of certainty, and it's learning how to get what you want. And the biggest mistake I see in guys who are having conversations with women is everything remains surface level shit chat. Oh, like, what do you do? Who are you? You got any pets? Do you like the weather? Oh, you work as a hairdresser. Do you like it? Yeah. And it's like, there's no wonder why these women don't want to fucking bang you. It's because, you could be the best looking guy in the world. You can have the money, you can have the sports car, but if she doesn't feel anything in that conversation, it's like working your bollocks off to buy a Lamborghini and then being too scared to drive it. So, of course, looks matter. Anybody who says looks don't matter is selling you a complete pile of horseshit. But looks are not everything, right? Looks, they are an open, right? Looking good buys you attention. It doesn't sell the product, right? The better you look, the more you will optimize for the halo effect, right? I know in my experience, dude, I used to look like absolute horseshit, right? Go back and look at the oldest videos on my channel. I used to look like shit. And the more better looking I became, the easier cold approach became. Because I think when you look good, it's not just about how the world sees you, it's about how you see yourself, right? I think the better looking you become, it allows you to, for me anyway, have less hesitation. Like I feel as though when I'm going into my conversations now, I genuinely feel fuckable, and it changes the energy. It changes the way that you show up. So do everything within your power to look and feel as good as possible. I don't understand why guys are resistant to this advice, right? Yes, looks matter, but there's a big difference between looking good and being good looking. And it's within any man's power to improve upon what he's been given and play his hand to the best of his ability. I used to look like shit, now I don't, right? I put those conscious reps in. Fitness and fashion are the easiest areas to improve. Get into better shape, wear better fitted clothes, get a haircut that suits your face, and also accept that some guys do just have it easier, right? Some guys are just genetically gifted, but what are you going to do about it? You know, you're going to spend the rest of your life crying, or are you just going to do the best with what you've been given? Play your hand to the best of your ability. I accept that there's always going to be guys out there who are better looking, who are in better shape, who are making more money, but that inspires me, right? I think that comparison can be the thief of joy. It depends on what you're optimizing for, because I think I'm optimizing for expansion, for growth. So if I see a guy who's further ahead than me, then that's the way that I see it. I don't see somebody as being better than me. I just see somebody as being further ahead than me. Because if you label somebody as better than you, it makes it impossible to compete, right? So, oh, he's better than me because he must be gifted. But if you label people as further ahead than you, then for me, it's like, oh, that's possible. It gives me drive to be better. So that's just a little aside that I think is quite useful, is don't label people as better than you. If people are further ahead than you, then that's all you need to say. Oh, that guy is further ahead than me in game, in social abilities, in looks, in finances, in fashion. Oh, that's cool. And then you get inspired to be better. But all of that aside, you can look amazing, but if you don't know how to emotionally connect with women, then you're going to struggle, okay? Because looks are just one part of the equation, yeah? You can look amazing, but again, looking good isn't open, right? It buys you attention, it doesn't sell the product. You could have the world's nicest looking shop, right? You could have a shop on the busiest street in New York City, and it could look beautiful on the outside. But if you enter the shop, you go inside, and the shelves are crooked, it stinks like shit, there's rats running everywhere, you're like, whoa, this is not what I expected, this is not what I signed up for. The front looked amazing, but fucking hell, the interior is way off. And this is the problem with guys now who go too deep down the black pill rabbit hole, right? Yes, I believe looks do matter, 100% they fucking matter. Anybody who's saying looks don't matter and game trumps all is selling you a complete pile of horseshit. Just research the halo effects. Right? We enjoy looking at beautiful things, but to say that looks the be all and end all completely misses the point, because it was Anne Perrion who said it best. Men become aroused through their eyes, women become aroused through their ears. And you will get to a point where you realize, yeah, I can look good, but there's plenty of good looking rich dudes out there. The thing that will set you apart, the thing that will give you an unfair advantage in this hyper competitive dating landscape, is your ability to emotionally intoxicate. And this is the thing that really inspires and motivates me. So when you're speaking with women, you want to listen, like really pay attention to what's being said, because people are dropping clues about themselves every day. Whenever you're in cold approach conversations, because I think that cold approach is one of it's one of the best ways to master the art of influence and persuasion. It's like speed dating on steroids, right? You're just having so much face time that every new approach is a new opportunity to practice. But when you're speaking with women, let's say she says, oh, I love traveling because people are open-minded. Then what you can do is you can assign an identity to her. For example, if she's like, oh, I love traveling because I'm open-minded, What I would say is, okay, interesting. So is that how you would describe yourself? Like, would you describe yourself as an open-minded person who was interested in pursuing new experiences? And to that, she will say, yes, yeah, I think that is how I would describe myself. And I would say, interesting. And do you feel as though being open-minded, does that come naturally, or is it something you've had to develop over time? Now, this is so like deep, and nobody else will explain this to you. The moment somebody assumes an identity, I think it was Freud who discovered that identity is the main driving force behind human behavior, right? It takes it from something you do to something you are. For example, supporters of Liverpool football team, right? They see themselves, the identity they have is I am, right? I am a supporter of Liverpool football team. So it's not just this passion, it's not just this pastime, it's identity, it's who they are. So when you allow somebody to embody the identity of, let's say, being an open-minded person, well, then it will become a lot easier to convert this conversation into a date because she's already self-selected as being an open-minded person. And open-minded people are usually spontaneous, they are risk takers, they are advocates of novel experiences. So a lot of guys, they don't truly go deep and find out who is this person beneath the beauty. So being an open-minded person, because if she's self-selected to be an open-minded person, the idea of going on a date with you will feel more fitting to this identity. The problem that guys make is they don't listen. They go way too fast in their conversations. Everything remains surface level, but there is a huge container beneath the surface that most guys are not tapping into, yeah? So when you're talking with women, and let's say you're having conversations and they're not going anywhere, it's probably because everything is too surface level. Everything feels pleasant and platonic. It's this surface level shit chat. Listen to things that she's saying. And also, a lot of times they won't give you this information explicitly. You actually have to assume things about them. So she might just say, I love traveling. She might not mention anything about being open-minded. So if a girl says, I love traveling, then you say, interesting. So I feel as though if you love traveling, you're probably an open-minded person who enjoys new experiences. How accurate is that? Yeah, I would say I'm quite open-minded. Okay, I'm interested. Like, being an open-minded person, is that something that comes naturally, or is it something you've had to work on over time? The same thing, right? You can make assumptions about people, and then if they buy into those assumptions, you can go even deeper. And you can do this within the first 20 seconds of an approach. And this is the difference between having 10 out of 10 killer cold approaches and pretty much doing what every other guy does. Surface level chit chat. And the thing that I mentioned yesterday, when these guys were like, oh, cold approach is a numbers game. No, it's not, motherfucker. Cold approach is a clarity game, right? You could do a thousand approaches. And if you're doing the same thing wrong every single time, I think when guys say cold approach is a numbers game, it's cope. It's justification for why they're not succeeding. This is why when guys work with me and I give them supervised feedback, that's how we turn decades into days. I think one of the biggest realizations for my guy yesterday was this emotional resonance, really paying attention to what people are saying. If somebody says to you, oh, I love to travel, or I run my own business, or I have a strong fascination for dogs, right? What does that say about them? Oh, interesting, you've got a strong fascination for dogs. I feel as though you're probably quite a caring person. I don't know you personally, but people that I've met in the past, people who have a strong love for animals, they usually have a nurturing side. Like, have you always been this way, or is it something you've had to develop naturally? Oh, well, yeah, I feel as though I've always been a nurturing person. I have one younger brother, and growing up, he struggled in school, so I was always there to look after him. Interesting. So I feel as though family is really important to you. Yeah, it is really important. Like, I completely get that. I'm an only child, actually, so I don't know what it's like to have siblings, but growing up, it was just me and my mum. And the older that I've got, I've developed so much more appreciation for all the sacrifices that she made for me. I don't know if you've ever felt that. It's like the older that you get, the more appreciation you have for the people who you love, right? And just by doing this shit, dude, like, if you're watching this live stream and you actually like, we're just scratching the surface here, right? Like, this is me just spitballing. When I'm working with my clients in person or online, dude, we just go even fucking deeper. This is like 3% of what we actually do. But if you can understand, like, the thing that's missing from every cold approach conversation that I listen to is deep emotional resonance. No, you're not going to be able to do it with every single girl. You might go out onto the streets of London, do 30 approaches in 3 hours. Maybe 12 of those women, they just didn't stop for you. But again, there's so many things you can improve on. If the women are not stopping, it's not usually a them problem, it's a you problem, right? You're probably carrying a lot of sexual shame, which is preventing you from going into those approaches with full conviction, getting right in front of them. This is the other thing that my guy mentioned yesterday. One of his biggest takeaways was the importance of getting right in front of the girl. You're not going to be able to emotionally connect with a woman unless you're fully facing her, looking at her. Your feet and her feet need to be pointing towards each other. If not, you're never going to have seductive bubbles of conversations. Like, you know you've nailed it when it feels like the rest of the world just dissolves. You're in a cold approach conversation, it feels like it's just you and her. So, like, let's just get super what time is it? Yeah, we've got time. Let's just get super tactical in terms of how to actually do a killer approach. If you're on this live stream right now, pay fucking attention, because this is the shit that actually converts. So, like, when you see a woman, the only goal at the start is not thinking about emotional connection, is not thinking about having long conversations, is not thinking about, oh, what am I going to talk about? The only intention for a cold approach is getting fully in front of the woman. And at the start of our session yesterday, completely understandably, my guy didn't yet understand the importance of getting in front. So a lot of his conversation, the first 5 or 6 approaches that he was doing, he was stood too far apart. Maybe he was stood there, the girl was stood there. The proximity was off. But again, reiteration is consolidation, right? If he'd have just done these 5 to 6 approaches yesterday, these haphazard approaches, right? If he was on his own doing that, he would have just been like, it's not my day. This doesn't work. The women are not stopping for me. This is so hard. It's like, no, you've only done 5 or 6 approaches, right? With feedback. So once he implemented the feedback, by the time he got to 30 approaches, it was night and fucking day, right? Just feedback after every single approach is what gets results. Jeez. So getting fully in front is the main thing. That's the only intention when you're approaching, getting right in front. And I mean like right in front, right? Look at my in-field videos, right? I've got almost 1,000 videos on this channel right now of me cold approaching for the past 5 years, right? Nobody else in this space has documented their entire cold approach journey since they started, right? So all of the in-field videos are here. Watch the way I approach women. You'll notice I'm in front. I'm not stood out all the way to the sides, right? This is social, right? If you're stood too far apart, this is a social conversation. If you want to make it seductive, boom, you get closer. And then the common resistance with guys is like, oh, but isn't that going to be too forward? Isn't that going to be too aggressive? Am I not going to come across as a nuisance? And this is the conditioning talking, but also it's not aggressive, it's having conviction, right? Imagine somebody just dropped their car keys or their phone on the street. And imagine you need to return these keys before they got on a train and they left forever. Imagine the conviction you would have behind returning their keys. You would go over, zero hesitation, because you feel as though you've got value to give. It's the same when you're approaching. You are the giver of magical experiences. You're going out into the world to make these women feel beautiful, desired, and sexy. In 2026, one of the biggest epidemics right now is loneliness, right? I don't care who you are. Everybody today has felt lonely. Right? Even for me, I've got an incredible network. I've got great relationships. I've got an amazing relationship now with my mum. It's the best that I've ever been. It's ever been. But when I'm traveling, when I am on my own, when I'm alone with my thoughts, I get lonely, right? And I think that a lot of people today are crying out. They are starved of social connection. But when we go out there to approach, we often feel as though we're doing something wrong, that we've got this dirty secret, that we're almost taking something from the world. and it creates pressure. This is why you've got anxiety to approach, because you feel as though you're trying to take something. Instead, see yourself as the giver of magical experiences. You are going out into the world to make these women shine, to make them feel witnessed, right? When you have this mindset of going out into the world to give, this is incredibly useful when you're first starting approaching. It changes the way that you show up, right? But I get it, like everybody's got their own self-limiting beliefs. So if you feel as though getting really close to a girl right now, it makes you feel uneasy, it makes you feel apprehensive. Like, dude, I'll put it out here right now. It does not matter who you are. Everybody needs some form of coaching. It doesn't need to be with me. You don't need to pay me a fucking penny, but please get help from somebody, right? Because the biggest killer of success, especially when it comes to men who want to become great with women, is ego, right? Is an inability to take feedback on board. I got coached 6 months after I started Cold Approach. I was a magician for 10 years. I've got guys in the entourage who were actors in Hollywood. They reached out. The guy that I'm working with over these 3 days, he's 40 years old. He went into a restaurant the other day. People thought he was a famous footballer. He looks fantastic. He's dressed immaculately. He lives a great lifestyle. But we don't know what we don't know, right? So if you've got all these things in your head like, oh yeah, but what if this happens? Or what if it's like, dude, you just need somebody to push you into 30 approaches in 3 hours. And I guarantee all of these self-limiting beliefs that you currently have, they will be dissolved, right? Again, you don't need to work with me. Find somebody online who you resonate with and allow them to help you. Because when you are doing these approaches, you want to get fully in front, right? You want to make sure that you're in front of the woman. You're looking at her, man to woman, right? Because the way you start a cold approach, it's within those first 3 seconds that really dictates how these approaches are going to go. So the most important thing is you get in front, okay? You're not stood to the side, you're not being this like closet heterosexual, and also the compliments that you're giving, you can't say all of this weak shit, right? If you're approaching and you're walking over to a woman and you're like, oh, hi, excuse me, you look really cute, or you look nice. It's like, dude, no one gives a fuck, right? Women cannot be turned on by a guy who they don't respect. You have to cut out all of this weak shit. Oh, excuse me, oh, 2 seconds. Oh, can I just, oh, don't mean to bother you. Oh, sorry, excuse me. It's like, you need to get rid of all this, like this weird nice guyisms, right? And I understand it. I went through this for years. I was a closet heterosexual. I was a quintessential nice guy. Women never saw me as a sexual option. I used to be sat on the sidelines like the gay best friend who couldn't pull a muscle. Go back, watch the earliest infields on my channel. You'll be able to see how shit I used to be. So I do understand what it's like when you're first starting the approaching. But that's why I reached out for help. That's why I got coached. That's why I continue to get coached, to get myself on camera, to get feedback, to put videos out there for the world to judge. Because it's like, if you don't feel as though you need feedback, then you need feedback more than anybody else. I heard a really good analogy. It's almost like going to the Apple store and buying a MacBook, and when they offer you the antivirus protection, you're like, oh, no, I don't need that, I'm good. It's like, you need it more than anybody else, because let me put it like this. If you're not getting the results with women you want right now, and you are cold approaching, then that is not a cold approach problem. That is a you problem. And just doing more reps, just putting in more effort is not going to solve your problems, right? You need an objective perspective. You need somebody to give you no bullshit feedback. You cannot expect watching videos and expecting your dating life to change. It's like sniffing a condom wrapper, expecting to lose your virginity. You will get to a point, at some point, probably this year, where you realize videos on their own are not going to change your life, right? It's not information that you lack, it's implementation. And when we did these approaches yesterday, 30 approaches in 3 hours, this is what makes a difference. It's conscious volume, supervised, with feedback, emotionally connecting with these women. And when you are doing these approaches, remember, you need to get in front, you need to deliver hard-hitting, strong, direct compliment, and it might feel uneasy at the start, and that's okay, right? It's just because like, you're not bad with women, you just lack practice. In the same way, you don't have social anxiety or approach anxiety, you just lack practice. But most guys, they're doing a few approaches and then they convince themselves it doesn't work. You need to stay out, you need to enter this social flow state. And then when you are in this flow state, just recognize the women that you're speaking with, they might be a bit socially cold. So you need to have cognitive empathy for where they're at. No woman left her house today thinking, I'm going to be cold approached. So you do need to have cognitive empathy for the women that you're approaching, and recognize that probably the biggest takeaway I can give you, not every woman is going to want to bang you. Even for me, I get rejected more than anybody else that I know because I put myself out there, more out there than anybody else that I know. Everybody is going to get blowouts, undesirable reactions, but the more you do this, the more rational you become. I know when I go out there to approach, the first 3 or 4 approaches are going to be shit. I'm probably not going to feel like myself. I'm probably going to get rejected. My ego is probably going to get hurt a little bit. But I've just done this so often now. I've generated over 15 years of social expertise because I was a magician. I became a magician at 13 years old. And now, having coached over 200 guys, I just know what to do. It works like clockwork, but it works as long as you do, right? It's like if you join the entourage, a personal trainer can't lift the weight for you. You need to want this. And it's not just about women, right? If you're somebody who wants to become a social beast, you want to have unmatched levels of social confidence. You want to get the women that you want, live the life that you want, make the money that you want, make the connections that you want. It's not about doing your best. It's about doing what's necessary. And in my experience, the best way to do that is through osmosis, is by getting around people who are further ahead than you and allowing their approach to life to rub off on you. So if you've enjoyed this live stream and you would like to get connected with me and the rest of my private coaching clients, if you would like to get connected with the guy I'm currently coaching right now, then the first link below this video, you can reserve your place inside the entourage. It's only open for the next 48 hours, then doors close. So if you've been waiting for a time to take action, if you're currently dissatisfied with where you're at, if you know you're capable of more, but maybe you've not had the support, the feedback, or the accountability to get to where you want to get to, if you want me in your corner, giving you that push, because at the end of the day, dude, my reputation is attached to my client's success. So I'll only work with guys who I genuinely know I can get results for. It's not saying it's a guarantee. It's not a quick fix solution. It's not a magic bullet. You need to put in the reps, yeah? This works as long as you do. But if you want to be surrounded by the most capable wingmen on the planet, then first link below this video, you can reserve your place inside the entourage. Doors are open for the next 48 hours. So if not now, when? I think that's what I would leave you with. Oh, I'll do it next month. Oh, I'll do it next year. Before you know it, you're 50 years old, your best years are behind you, and you're thinking, fuck, I wish I'd just taken action when I had the opportunity. So yeah, don't get to the end of your life dying with your music still inside of you. The time is now, right? The time right now is for the action takers. So yeah, if you want to reserve your place inside the entourage, first link below this video. Doors are open for the next 48 hours. And I look forward to welcoming you inside. And yeah, if you've enjoyed this live stream, drop it a like. I'll probably do another debrief maybe tomorrow morning in terms of how day 2 went. But yeah, yesterday, unreal. 30 approaches, 11 contact details in 3 hours. And then he did 10 approaches solo without me even being there. And the best part is, this is just the start of everything. Do you know what I mean? Like one day compared to the rest of his life. Imagine where he's going to be 3 months from now, 3 years from now. So yeah, this is what happens when you just drop the excuses. You just say, fuck it, and you just get after it. So yeah, first link below this video, reserve your place inside the entourage, and I will speak with you boys again, most likely tomorrow. All right, love you.